Hey guys, welcome to BP the Bible Perspective. Did Jesus ever say anything about homosexuality? You know, in our political climate, I want to say social climate, there are a lot of people that act as if he did. And I want to just share a few thoughts on that question. Before I do, please like and share this video and subscribe to BP the Bible Perspective. And always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome. You know, in the climate we live in today, there is obviously a great push and to promote gay acceptance, the LGBT acceptance, which includes, of course, homosexuality, lesbianism, transgender, pansexualism, or whatever it is you want to fit in those letters. The problem with today's application, however, is that we live in a paradigm of conservative Christian thought. So what that had produced, especially around the 60s, was this counter culture that led to, of course, the coming out of the closet, the openness to homosexuality. That led to challenging biblical norms, challenging morality, the morality of homosexuality. And so inevitably, of course, you ask the question, what did Jesus say about homosexuality? Now, he didn't say a lot. In fact, he really didn't say anything about homosexuality. And the reason why is because it really wasn't a thing back then. Meaning this: yes, there was sin, there was fornication, there was adultery, there was homosexuality, but it didn't have the political ramifications. The hypocrisy of the evangelical conservative, by making it, homosexuality and abortion, the talking point, as if God is falling off of his throne over these issues. Now, he's not. God condemns all sin, and that's the problem. You see, the evangelical conservatives, in their political maneuvers, you single out abortion, and homosexuality. But back in the 70s, when they threw their hats into the political ring, they had other issues, such as prayer in school is one of them. Well, that's no longer the issue, right? So that's kind of scratched out. But the two lasting political talking points, abortion and homosexuality, to which they fight for today. The hypocrisy, of course, is that they ignore so many other things, like racism. It's okay to be racist, but don't be gay. So the other question is then, is homosexuality a sin? And did Jesus condemn it as a sin? Well, to further understand that, go back to the times in which they lived in the Roman world. And in the Roman world, immorality was rampant and out of control. But it wasn't a political, social issue as the church made it today. And that's where the difference comes in at. In the Roman world, no one even really categorized homosexuality versus straight and heterosexual. People just committed their sin, and that was the problem. Dudes were into dudes, girls were into girls, people were into both. And transgender really wasn't an issue. These things formulated under this Judeo-Christian ethic paradigm. In other words, if you didn't have that, and I think we're fast approaching where people are saying we don't need the Bible, we don't need God. But I think we're fast approaching this idea, hey, people are not going to have that as the political social norms. Rome didn't have it. they didn't have the political the stigma and the political social fight. It still existed. You had guys who act as women. Not, they might have cross-dressed, but certainly homosexuality was a thing, just like adultery, just like fornication. As far as, did Jesus say anything about homosexuality? Jesus didn't say a whole lot about a lot of stuff specifically. For example, he never talked about pedophilia. But there are a lot of things that was in the law of God, okay, that covered what was permissible and what was not permissible, what was right, what was not right, what was sin and what was not sin. But you have to remember that the world around Israel was always immoral to the hilt. They were completely immoral and sinful. Most pagan worship had some kind of sexual perversion in its worship. Rome was no different. So while Jesus did not address homosexuality specifically, and there was only one mention of Sodom and Gomorrah, it was in the fact of people, towns who would reject the gospel. Jesus said it would be more tolerable for Sodom and Gomorrah. So the mention of it. Now if you go back, the fact that he mentions of it certainly gives credence to the sin of Sodom and Gomorrah, but not specifically. Now you go back to the sin of Sodom and Gomorrah, it was rampant sinfulness, out of control wickedness, for which homosexuality was one. But understand that it was more than just homosexuality. In other words, the men of Sodom came to Lot's house to have sex with the angel. They were going to rape them. Now, that is what defined the homosexuality of today. Also understand, though, that it wasn't just homosexuality. They were just into gratification. Fornication is just that, self-gratification. There's another story in the book of Judges where a group of men approached a house and demanded to have sex with a man, but settled for a concubine whom they raped all night until she died. In other words, the idea was gratification. The issue wasn't just I identify as gay or lesbian or transgender. That wasn't the issue. It was a sinful, depraved society. And Jesus came to die for that sinful, depraved society. So, did Jesus ever say anything about homosexuality? Not specifically, but indirectly, yes. In other words, he condemned all sin as well as dying on the cross for all sinners. And that's how he dealt with it. The hypocrisy of the modern day Christian right and conservative is by selecting one while excusing and ignoring a whole lot of other sins. And that's the problem. All right, look, guys, that is my perspective. Love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Add them to the comments section. Remember, all comments are welcome. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. Till next time, I'll see you then.